In this video, I will tell you about managing layer visibility in viewports. So we have made this drawing and we have added lots of different viewports in different layouts. In the previous lesson, we have also added this elevation layout in which we have these two different viewports. In the first one, we have the front elevation and here we have the east elevation. Now, all of these drawings are currently assigned on different layers, and the layer property will behave uniformly for all of these drawings as they are connected directly with the model space. So if you go to model space and here if you change the layer assignment of any one of the objects, for example in this case we have the blocks, let's go to the drop down, and for this block layer I'll turn it off, the visibility, and all of the blocks in this floor plan, the east elevation and the front elevation will be turned off, so that will affect uniformly. Now I'll turn it on and I'll move back to the layout. So here in the layout view we have some different settings also. So using these settings we can change the properties of a specific viewports only. To explain this, I'll just move this layout over here and then I'll click on layer properties manager. Now this palette will pop up. Here we have the common properties of the layer, and if you change any of these properties it will universally change the property of objects in all of these viewports. But when you scroll this layer property manager a little bit over here, you'll see some properties which are specific to the viewports. Right now you may not be able to see the name tag, so right click on any one of them and select this maximize all columns. So that will maximize it, and now you'll be able to see the name of these columns. So here we have this new VP freeze or new viewport freeze, and here we have the viewport freeze. So let's select this one, and here you can simply see the block and its viewport freeze option. So let's now freeze the visibility of this blocks layer. So before that we need to activate the viewport. So I'll double click on this viewport and this viewport is now active. Now click on this VP freeze and look at the blocks. So we don't have the block here. Also the second block has been removed, but we still have the block here, although they are on the same layer. So right now this change is affecting only this viewport. So I'll double click outside and now I'll move to this text layer. So in this case we have text in both of these viewports. Let's click on this one, and now they are on both same layers. So I'll turn off this, so I'll freeze it, and here the text has been hidden. But in this case, in this layout, the text is still visible. So in this way we can change the properties selectively for different viewports using these layer options. You can not only change these options, the freeze and thaw option, but you can also change some other options which are related to the viewport. For example, I'll just scroll it a little bit towards right side, and here we have the viewport line weight option. Here in this case, let's say that we want to change the line weight of this viewport. So I'll double click here, and now here we have this zero layer. I'll change its line weight and I'll assign a line weight of 0.5 mm. Click on OK, double click outside. Now the line weight of objects in this viewport are changed. So when you zoom into this, you'll notice the difference. In this case, the line weight can be clearly seen, and here we have the normal default line weight, and the difference is quite visible now. So I'll once again double click inside and I'll change the line weight to its default value and click on OK. Now double click outside. So now let's click on this close icon to close the layer properties manager. In most of the cases, this viewport boundary is a big distraction, and we may not want this viewport boundary to be visible in many of the cases. So in order to hide these viewports, you can use a workaround. So you can create a new layer. So I'll go to layer properties manager. I'll click on this new layer and I'll give it a name. So I'll name it as VP, press enter. Now you can put these objects, the viewport boundaries, on the VP layer. And now you can freeze this VP layer. So click on the drop down and freeze it. Now we don't have the viewport boundary. We still have the object. If you double click here, the viewport will be active. You can zoom in, zoom out, or you can do other modifications, but the viewport boundary is now invisible. So double click outside and we have only these clean drawings. So in this way, you can change the layer assignments selectively for different viewports in AutoCAD.